Hello everybody, it is Neen here bringing you the first game of the DreamHack Valencia 2012 semi-final between Last Fallen Hope. It is going to be TargA and the Terran Hope from Team Liquid TaeJa. It's going to be Liquid TaeJa. From Team Liquid, it's going to be TaeJa as our Red Terran on the 3 o'clock and the Zerg on the 9 o'clock. So it's cross spawns. Close by, not much really. It's pretty big map, and by the looks of it, TargA's started talking to the audience, because I don't quite know why the observers and everyone else would clap, but presumably he's trying to juke TaeJa somehow into thinking that he's six pooling, but I don't think TaeJa understands what clap is, and there's for audience. So TargA definitely TaeJa, well, it's understandable that he's not good at English. He is after all Korean. And that's like me trying to speak French, even though I did actually take French for about 10 years, I just cannot speak it at all. But the barracks are going to be in a wacky position. Well, not really that wacky, it's pretty much becoming standard. And the drone scout is going to come across for TargA, just checking the Zelnaga towers, making sure that there's nothing untoward happening, like a proxy 2 racks or something. We did see a proxy marauders in the second game of 4GG versus the STC. It's a tactic that I've actually seen 4GG use a couple of times, but the drone's going to make its way in here. TaeJa defensively raising the supply depot just to try and wall the probe in a bit, because there isn't a massive gap here and a massive gap here and he can't get through there. But he sees the barracks building and the marine starts, and by the looks of it, it's going to be denied. But hatch first, but I think that was, yeah, I've definitely hatched first from TargA before the spawning pool, so it might be a tiny bit greedy, and it could be punished, but it looks as though TaeJa might be going for the expansion as well. So the drone going to try and block it, but eventually succumbs, and there is the command center going down for TargA. And the marine starts to try and pick off the drone, but it manages to escape with roughly half its health. The Overlord sees the scouting SCV in anyway, and it's no great surprise that there's a fairly early hatchery, and it's fairly well on in its development cycle. And TaeJa presumably just realizing something. I'm not quite sure what. But he realized something, or he just mistakenly typed O into these chats because he thought it was hotkeys or something. But slightly confusing. No gas is taken yet for TargA though, so presumably he might go for quite a Ling heavy build. However, there are gases being taken, double gas in fact, for TaeJa, so presumably going mech. And there's the third CC. So it looks that it might be 3 CCs as well. It might be going for the 3 CCs, which is pretty good against Zerg, if I'm not mistaken. But it does actually look as though TaeJa's decided to play Zerg by putting the macro command center, as the mule decides to just break down. It's kind of like an old car, breaks down every 90 seconds. But the 2 queens going to start to push the creep by the looks of it, once they've got enough energy for it. And just a small group of marines, just making sure that no zerglings can penetrate into the worker line. But TargA does have a 12 supply lead in his droning up, and the 3 queens by the looks of it being used for defense as well as pushing creep. Because it is important to have good creep spread, especially if you're going to play a mainly ground force. It doesn't matter that much if you're going muters, but it's useful to have good creep spread at all times. And there is going to be the factory coming up as well as a reactor, so we might be seeing the switcheroo into reactor Hellions, which is pretty much standard for most Terran versus Zergs, even though it might be a bit later than normal. But the second orbital command has finished up, so 3 mules at a time. It's going to be a massive income boost, and it's pretty much equal to maybe 200 minerals more, depending, but you can see the effect of a mule. 29 harvesters, or 30 harvesters. There's a 15 harvester lead for TargA, but the third hatchery is being taken. And the queens, all 4 of them spreading creep, as well as getting a double evo chamber wall off. And one queen's going to hold position presumably, and there's going to be a small gap. Nope. Can a Zergling get through there? I don't think a Zergling can get through there, because that looks as though the same positioning as where, yeah. So I think that that wall off should hold. But it looks as though there might be some early marine pressure coming down, and some Hellions. Will there be a scan to reveal creep tumors? The queens react quickly, and they're instantly pulled to just sort of lay some creep tumors, but the creep tumor gets taken out immediately, and the queen looks as though it's miscontrolled into the Hellions. Transfuse goes down, saving that queen. Hellions get taken out, and will the marines get taken out? One queen goes down, having to pull back. There's the scan, and creep's going to start falling now, so he'll need to restart his creep spread, trying to take down the marines as they do. One marine goes down, and I don't think there's enough energy. No, there isn't. But here come the Lings, and they get a good surround off, and it looks as though there's going to be a retreat from the Hellions, which don't have blue flame yet, I don't think. I'll just check on that if I can find a factory with a tech lab. No, I don't think they have blue flame yet. But it looks as though it's now going to be a bio build coming out from TaeJa. So TaeJa using all the styles, and there's some Hellions wanting to poke in, but a squadron of Lings is going to poke its way out. It's going to get seen by the Xel'Naga Tower, the SCV at the Xel'Naga Tower, and it looks as though the Hellions might be on a course to intercept. But the Lings eventually do have to pull back, because Hellions, I think they got a decent surround, but there's just going to be the Banshee sitting there, making sure that nothing can pass, and come up to build a fourth, which might put TaeJa behind, but there's going to be double gas taken at the third as well. So the rocks are going to start getting picked off by a squadron of 4 marines, and it looks as though TaeJa might want to move out at some point with all his Hellions. But we do see the starport being built on one of the reactors. There's another reactor just going spare, and it looks as though it's going to be quite a lot of marines at some stage. But muters being produced for TargA up in the main basin, presumably the natural, but the spore crawler is going to stop the cloak bounty pressure as the SCV just repairs up a couple of the Hellions, making sure that they're on nice and full health. But the muters are going to make their way over. They're going to pick off the Hellion at their watchtower. And is there going to be missile turrets put down instantly or not? Or will he just bring over? There's some marines getting the stim. But is it a wasted stim? Well, we'll have to find out. The muters just sort of flying backwards and forwards. I think TargA doesn't quite know what to do with them. He's bringing them over to the watchtower. Possibly, no. But flyer attacks level 1, as well as baneling hooks, so we could see a lot of banelings in the near future. But the Hellions are making their way into the natural, and the Zerglings are going to follow up, but is that a good decision? No. TargA decides to pull back and let the Mutilates do their work, and whoa, my camera just sort of decided to just go weird. It's almost like when you use a capacitive touchpad. Is it capacitive touchpad? Not capacitive, resistive touchpad, and you put 2 fingers on it, and the cursor just decides to go all weird. But these muters look as though they're going to try and intercept some of these Hellions, and here comes the air support. 2 Hellions get taken out at the same time by the glaive worms, and I think this might actually be a baiting into. Yep, there's the main army. He's gonna have to run away with those muters. But sieged up on the high ground, so nothing will be able to get into the third unless TargA manages to break down destructible rocks at the back. And TargA might actually be playing on the back foot by the looks of it. 2-2 coming down now for TaeJa. and by looks of it 2-2 as well for TargA, as well as flyer attacks 1. But that queen on fairly low health, well, not fairly low health, on about half health, going to be placing down the creep tumors, and the massive flock of mutas going to make its way back to a more defensive stance, and looks as though TargA might be getting ready to move out at some stage. But that is vehicle weapons level 1, yes, no, level 2 actually, and the hive coming down, so going to see broods at some point, or just ultras, because it is quite a bio heavy. It's usually broods if against mech, ultras if against bio. But there is a drop in the main, it has to get evacuated. The medevac doesn't quite fall, but it gets cleaned up in the end, and I think, did the Spire go down? I don't think I see the remains of Spire. No, the Spire's still up, it's actually at the natural, I did not notice that. But Baneling's getting morphed, and TaeJa's on creep, which is quite a precarious position to be if you've not got that mobile an army. However, it is mostly bio instead of tech, so I think we'll be okay. But it looks as though TargA's going to start to poke out with a few Banelings, possibly try and get some damage done. But gets taken down by, well, just denied in general. And there's 15 Banelings morphed as well as more, so it's going to be Baneling just everywhere. And looks as though some Banelings are going to get taken out, but that is going to lead to some Marines getting taken out. Going to units lost. TaeJa has lost a lot more. However, it's equal number of bases, and the 4th isn't getting mined from. Whereas the 4th for TaeJa is. So it's going to be actually higher income probably for TaeJa than it is for TargA, which is something that you don't see every day. But the mutas are going to head up, and will they be able to take out the tanks before they do too much damage, or are they going to concentrate on the Marines? It could be a pretty important battle. The Banelings roll through at the top. Some of them get taken out by the Marines, but those are good destinations. TaeJa tried to separate, but didn't quite manage it in time. And now the I thought that was a bunker. It's a factory. That factory might actually get taken down. But there are lings in your mineral line, and that is never a good sign. The Marines are having to stim down to deal with this, and the mutas are going to have to pull back. But there are more lings on the way. TargA looks as though he's just going to try and ling stream TaeJa to death, but TaeJa's on more mining bases, so it might be a tough call. Mind you, his main isn't that much of a mining base anymore, only got 5 or so mineral fields left. And TargA is getting remaxed by the looks of it. A lot of Banelings all rallied out. And by the looks of it, 95, so about 111 units coming out. And the mutas pop in, try to do some damage. Will they be able to get the tanks before they siege up? That is the question. But it looks as though TaeJa's managed to pincer. And those lings just get taken out quite quickly. The mutas look as though they're going to get taken out as well. No, they managed to get away. And there are more lings inbound. So the question is what we're going to see. Ultralisks from TargA, and 3-3 for both players. As well as more bases for TaeJa than for TargA. Something seems familiar. We've got one orbital command there. And I think I saw another in the main. Or not. I think it might have floated out. But something seems oddly familiar. But 5 mining bases against 4. This could be quite decisive in the outcome of this match. The mutas tried to pop in to do some damage, but there are 4 ultras on the way as well as Greater Spire. So Ultra Broodlords, it might be a winning combination, it might not. It all depends, but there is going to be an engagement. The scan takes out some creep spread. Well, quite a lot of creep spread actually. So TargA isn't actually able to get creep spread established at any point in this game really. Only able to get up to about a third of the way across the map. But the hatchery is going to go down. And creep spread's going to rescind. And the MMM force with some siege tanks is going to come. But the siege tanks are going to get taken out by the Ultras. Infestors as well. Will there be any fungals, or will it be for infested Terrans? One infestor goes down. 2 infestors go down. And there's a fungal on the Marine Marauder there. But Burrow's coming down as well. TargA is just going for all attack. And that is weapons level 3 for vehicles. But the Overlord does see the 5th. And TargA knows that he's behind in macro. Because TaeJa does know how to macro. He can go up to as many bases as he wants and still win. Because normally most players have to sort of use bases, either macro or micro. TaeJa does both at the same time. He's almost like a less godly Flash. But TargA needs to pull something off. However, it's very clumped up. If there's a burrow infester could pop up and fungal that, it might just be disastrous. But it looks as though there is a drop, and they'll get picked up presumably. Yes, there's the pickup, only losing 2 or 3 Marines. Possibly, no, only 1, because there was a Zergling Carapaces that I was seeing on the ground. But a stim group is going to just move in and just keep picking off creep spread. And the main force, that's actually baited TargA out position. The main force is down here. 1 Queen gets taken out. And the siege tanks now sieging up on the low ground. And Ultras are going to try and sweep in and clean it up. There's a fungal on some Marines. Fungal on more Marines. But the fungals aren't good enough. And this 4th is going to get taken down as well. And the Thors are ready and poised. But the infested Terrans block the path of the Ultralisk. So the Ultralisk wasn't able to get much done in there. However, it managed to lose quite a bit of health. But they will now sweep through. 1 Ultralisk gets taken down. And oh, I think there's a couple on half health, yes. However, a couple of Broodlords as well to just keep the mech on its toes. And I think I just heard some Banelings morphing. No, that was a Broodlord morphing. But there's another drop at the 5th, and the 5th goes down again. And there's the pickup, saving that squadron of Marines as TargA tries to push out across the map, possibly getting a good fungal on that, on the Thors, if he can at all possible. But there is a lot of infestors out. 3 burrow, and look as though they're going to want to do damage. And here comes another drop to deny the 4th. One Marine just staying behind to take down the lava. They have a lot of armor. And yeah, TargA is behind in base count. He needs to make this army just last, because he is not on very many minerals. TaeJa's maxed out and is now just getting all the upgrades as well. So those broods are going to chase down those Marines. Could take down this. They do take down Hellion as my Skype starts pinging me. And I should probably have muted that before, but it's 10 AM here. Well, 11 AM. No one should actually be awake right now. At least that's on my Skype friends list. But the siege tanks are in a good position. 1 Ultralisk does go down pretty much before the engagement even begins. And those infestors are just going to start falling as well. And TaeJa actually has quite a good defensive position. I mean, I think that TargA might be able to swing up into... TaeJa's just taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's still on 5 bases, but he's taken the entire top side of the map. But the defense position going to start getting picked off by broods. But the Vikings are there as well. Auto turrets come down from the Ravens, and the infestors go down. The Ultra goes down. Another Ultra will just go down before it gets any kills, pretty much. And there's too many Marines, Marauders, Medivacs, Thors, Siege Tanks. There's too many of every single unit in the game. I think that's TaeJa's playstyle today. Let's put all of the units in the game in my composition. 1 Ultralisk manages to get away. Transfuses go off on the Ultralisk, keeping it alive. But the infestors go down as well. And the Lings will try and sweep up. I think that no, he won't actually decide to use that bunker, which is a bit strange. But there are now lings in your mineral line again. They're in your base, killing your dudes. But the Ultra's going to get taken down. Oh no, transfuses on all the things. And that Ultralisk, it's going to keep getting taken down. Apparently it has reached the Slayer's rank. Which Slayer's recently disbanded as well, which is a bit disappointing. They were a very strong team at one point, but I suppose there was quite a lot of controversy with Crank and MMA just sounding off about everything, and Alicia getting demoted to the B team for no apparent reason. So yeah, TargA decides he's got 300 minerals and he's on no mining bases. So I think he just decided to GG after like an intense, mainly macro focus mainly macro focus game. But I will see you in game 2 with TaeJa having the 1-0 lead.